Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining New Jersey Wedding Podcast, the go-to podcast for planning your wedding in New Jersey, especially since we are heading into engagement season. We are your hosts, Andrea Pertel and Celia Milton, and we are both full-time professional wedding officiants here in the state of New Jersey. And hey, Celia, how's it going with you today?
Excellent, excellent. Still trying to get all the turkey out of the refrigerator. I guess that'll happen soon. The whole house doesn't smell like Thanksgiving, but we're moving on. We're moving on
Moving
into
on, I've got the Christmas decorations up, and
oh, oh, you are a better woman than I.
I don't know what possessed me. I'll get
Well,
sick
it's
of them
later
in
though.
another week. I'll be like, is it time to take them down?
I know. Is it New Year's yet? No, but it's like later. Thanksgiving was later this year, so we have an excuse.
Right, right.
Yeah, it's fine.
And we are coming up on one of the best seasons,
Absolutely.
engagement season. It's very exciting. We're going to get lots of calls. It's already kind of starting,
Yep.
but it's
Yep.
really going to be in full swing. And
It is
so,
people getting engaged, looking for venues, and then looking for their key vendors.
right.
And we've said this before. If you have people that you know you want to hire, or are you looking at websites and you found people that you think are really interesting, just call them.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
just
Or you're
call
going to
them,
lose them.
and
You're going to
or you're
lose
going to
them.
lose them because
Yeah.
it's going to be next year is going to be crazy, and then you don't have to think about it all the time. And
Yeah.
probably after you get your venue, which is always, well, pretty much always the first thing, because you can't really do a lot unless are you going to be on a yacht?
Location
Are
and
you going to be
date.
in the
Yeah.
forest? Yeah, what's the date going to be? Probably one of the bigger things you're going to look for as a photographer. And we had the distinct pleasure of talking to one of our faves, Anthony Ziccardi,
Yeah.
um,
Very
who has a
popular. Yeah.
very popular, has a great team of people, and it was interesting to hear about. It's always interesting to hear a little bit about the backstory of these pros that we talk to, and
Hmm.
how they got to where they are and their philosophy about what they do, and but what's behind those beautiful pictures. And I think he brought up a lot of interesting planning points, and a lot of insight into the way that he works with his couples.
Yes. Yes. And he is a true professional, isn't he?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think, something that he brought to mind, and it probably is more it's more a factor with somebody like a photographer who's spending a lot of time trying to record a lot of things, is that you always kind of have to be ready for what's going to happen next that you just didn't really expect.
Right.
And I think when you have somebody that's really professional and really good at what they do, they know really how to figure out how to make everything look like whatever happens is exactly the way that you planned it.
Yeah.
It's like, do we have snow? We wanted snow. Great.
Yeah. Yeah. He can make it work. His use of
He
light
absolutely can.
is
Yeah,
beautiful, and he's a professional. He can make it look
yeah,
beautiful, and this is exactly what they expected. We expected this,
right,
rain, and we can
right.
make it look beautiful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know what, you may have like unruly dogs or unruly family members, or something that there's always something that happens at your wedding that's unexpected, but I feel like that if you have the right pros, and he is definitely on that list, nothing is going to feel like it isn't exactly the way that you planned.
Right. Right. Yeah. So he's a great team player. He and
Yeah.
his team are fabulous to work with. And I really enjoyed his interview, and I think our listeners are gonna really enjoy listening to Anthony Ziccardi Studios. And I know you work with him a lot because he's up by Sparta, but his team travels throughout the state of New Jersey, and he does fabulous destination weddings. So stay tuned and enjoy this upcoming interview with Anthony Ziccardi Studios.
You're engaged. That is so great. It's such an exciting time, and probably a little bit overwhelming too. We'll try to cut through some of that overwhelmed feeling and help you get back to the joy you both felt when one of you asked that singular question and the other person said yes. You want a unique and amazing ceremony, we know that, and we're here to put that together for you. The process is really simple. How refreshing is that? You've created your love story. We're going to write it, and yes, you will see a script before that day. We tell this great story to your guests. They laugh, they cry, and then they party. Easy, right? And I bet it sounds great. A wonderful personal ceremony that feels just like you and lets your guests feel the warmth and joy of the day. We can create that together. Okay, I cannot promise it'll be as much fun as tasting cakes, but we'll try to come close. So let's talk about how to put your wedding together so at the end everybody's had a great time and you're married. So just reach out to us at NJ Vows Now. We're going to make this all easy and fun. I promise. Hello, everybody. Well, it's that time of year. Everybody's getting engaged, and you're looking for a venue. But the next thing you're going to be looking for is a photographer who
Mhm.
can capture that beautiful venue and all those moments and the ones you expect and the ones that you don't expect. And sometimes I think those are really the most delicious ones, the kind of like behind the scenes thing. We are talking to Anthony Ziccardi today, one of the most well known, for good reason, premier, fabulous, expressive photographers in New Jersey. I've had the pleasure of working with Anthony for many, many years and his staff, and they just produce the most. All you really need to do is go to the website and look at it. We don't have to say anything else. That should really be it. But we are going to let Anthony talk about what he likes to do and why he does it and how he does it, and I think he's going to talk about destination weddings too. So we'll just let Anthony. You talk, Anthony. I'm done.
Hi, Celia. Andrea, thank you so much for having me. What a pleasure. And of course, you guys are so talented at what you do. And every time I come to one of my weddings and I see that you're my officiant, it's kind of just like a weight off my shoulders and I can kind of do my job.
Yes.
Um,
Same
this
here when
is
we hear it's
Thank you.
Anthony Ziccardi. Yeah. So it's nice.
there's something being said about having experienced professionals at your event. And
Absolutely.
the way I kind of always think about this is, say I have a difficult situation or a really difficult mother of the groom or something like that. And in my head, I kind of go like, I know you. I've had you 19 separate times in the last 6 years. I know exactly how you're going to act because you are feeling that you're not getting enough attention because you're the mother of the groom and you need that little extra boost. So there's nothing new to me at a wedding after 24 years. I've seen it all. I figured out how to pivot to make everybody feel special. So you go like, no problem. Here's what we're going to do. My name is Anthony. My second photographer is Joe. He's going to come and get you so you can come and pin up your son. That's very important to us. And that kind of, I think the goal behind a really good seasoned professional is being able to put fires out before they even start.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Nobody knows
Well
what's
said.
going on. It just everything is the way they imagined it.
Right. Absolutely. And that's really the goal. So, when it comes to photography and cinematography, there are so many talented people out there that really can produce beautiful images. For me, that's only about half of it. Can
Yeah.
you coordinate the day? Can you put out those fires? Can you make everybody feel like they've known you forever and that they're comfortable and really
Right.
kind of melt away those concerns? And I think that's
Mhm.
what really makes the difference between just someone who's a good photographer and someone who's like a really seasoned wedding
Yeah.
professional.
Right. The
Well, I think
ability. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, no, I was going to say, I think too that, one of the really, really big pluses for you is that you're so familiar with a lot of the wedding venues that we're familiar with. And, you know all the nooks and crannies and the places that, if you've never been there before, you might not think to go behind that tree or next to that pond, but you know all those places that are going to work so beautifully. And it's so efficient for they know that you know what you're doing. And I think that that goes a long way. Everybody's nervous. It
But
doesn't matter.
that's I'm sorry.
No,
That's no
no.
doubt a benefit to have that familiarity with these venues. But I often say to my clients, because there's a lot of times I go to places that I've never been. Like just last spring, I shot a wedding in France in Marseille, and I have never been there. So it's kind of like saying to a plumber, "Do you need to like tour my bathroom first before you know how to fix it?" Like, no. It doesn't matter what situation you put me in. I could literally take you to a garbage landfill and you would love all the pretty colors in the background. And I turn it into glowing balls of light. And what that is garbage glistening off the sunlight. A really talented photographer can take any situation and make it something beautiful.
Right, right. And you mentioned, that there are a lot of talented photographers out there, but for wedding photography, it's a little different. The ability, like you said, to build a relationship with the couple and their families and being able to take their pictures, put them at ease. You spend the most time with the couple. I mean, hours with the couple and almost intimately, like stand here, do this, and also to coordinate the day. I mean, it's not just taking pictures. There's a lot of stuff happening at a
Oh, yeah.
wedding, and it's a timeline that you have to follow. And so to be able to have everybody at ease so they look good and feel good and it shows up in their pictures and keep them on this timeline. Come on.
So
Where's
we
grandma?
have
Get her here.
we have a secret to that, and we're basically hedging our bets. So we never leave like, whatever happens, happens. Like that's never going to be a statement you hear at this studio. So we have a really detailed 5-page packet. We call it the AZS homework packet. We send you home with that, and it has stylized questions. It has different things that are priorities, and there's a scale from 1 to 4. There's no 5 because we don't want you to have a middle ground. So either like this is very important or not so important, and we really get to understand what you and your fiance are looking for on your big day. And then you come back into my studio and we have a sit down meeting where we go over the timeline of your day and your schedule. And that's where me and my team really root out a lot of issues, especially this time of year. Couples go like, well, we're having our ceremony at 5:30 outside at Crystal Springs. I go, well, that sounds wonderful.
Dark.
Except it's dark.
The sun set an hour before that, and it's going to be 12 degrees. And they go like, oh, no, we have plenty of light. They're going to put candles out. And you go,
Oh, God.
why this isn't going to work. And you don't say, we're not going to do that. We say, here in my years of experience, what happens when you try to do something like this? And they go like, oh my God, I had no idea.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're not supposed to, right? You're the pro,
Oh
so
my
you guide
God.
them, right?
Everybody's got an opinion on what you should do, and you have to respect those opinions because they value their opinions too. But, my goal is never to tell you, and I say this to my clients, of course, my goal is never to tell you what you have to do. I simply say this line. I say, my job is not to tell you what to do on your wedding. My job is to give you my 24 years of experience and let you guys make educated decisions based on the advice I give you here today. So if they choose to not have a first look and get married in the dark, at least I did everything in my power to try to make their wedding better. But at the end, it's what they want.
Ultimately, yeah, their choice. Yeah.
I
You
know.
have a great team of
Oh, yes,
photographers and
they're all great.
cinematographers as well.
Thank you. I am so proud of my team. And I learned a very long time ago that the only way to be successful is to put people that you trust and know
Yes.
and respect in positions, to help you. I'm not very good with organization. I'm very organized on a wedding, but I'm not an email person. I really don't enjoy talking on the phone. So I even people like behind the scenes, like I have a sales manager, I have a social media marketer, I have a production manager here. I have people who do jobs that I don't really enjoy or excel at. I put the best people in those positions to help make me successful. And having a full-time studio manager, having my wife here to run my portrait studio makes my life so much easier because now I can focus on just being a photographer and getting creative and finding new and creative ways to challenge myself and to serve my clients.
Anthony, I like when your team, and you mentioned your wife, Sarah Ziccardi. I like how you put the real boss, and the
You see
portrait
that?
studio manager.
She is my real boss. She's
Her
so
title is
smart
the
and
real
she's so
boss.
capable. And my company is certainly as successful as it is because of Sarah and the hard work she puts in. And she's so creative, but she's so organized and she's so smart that it just makes me look so good.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good to have
Well-
a great team. Putting together a great team is so important.
You guys do the same thing. You make sure that the people you have at these weddings are top notch.
Mhm.
You're not just
They're
like,
a
I don't let
reflection of
anybody.
you. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so to become a photographer here at this studio, you could be Ansel Adams or Annie Leibovitz. You have to do an apprenticeship program under me, which a lot of photographers even get weeded out because they're like, well, do you know who I am? And it's like, I don't care. Let me see how you interact. Let me see what kind of images you produce on the same day that I'm doing it. And let me see what you can do. And sometimes it takes these talented photographers 2 weddings before I allow them to even come on as a paid second shooter because everything, I should have come up with a different name like snapshot photography, but I chose my personal first name to name this company. So anything that we do has literally my name attached to it.
Yeah,
So everyone's got to be up to my standard, or I just can't use you.
exactly. Hmm.
Well, it's true. And I feel like what you said before is so it's so smart. It's like you get to do by surrounding yourself with really good people, you get to do the things that you're really, really good at and let other people do the things that they're really good at. And that really shows because it lets you concentrate your attention and your efforts onto the creative process that happens on that day. And I think that that's really, and it shows.
Oh,
It really does show in your
over
pictures.
1,000 5-star reviews.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we averaged for a very long time over 250 weddings every year. Me, like so many other businesses, we suffered so badly during COVID.
Yeah.
And then we haven't quite gotten back up to that number. We're roughly a studio that does close to 200 weddings every year. And I'm very happy with that number because I want to make sure that every client we have has a spectacular experience and they really feel like they're part of what we call the AZS family. And, that's what I love. I love that sisters call me 3 years down the road and say,
Yeah.
Anthony, I got engaged. You did my sister's wedding. And I really want you to be a part of that. And that's what makes this job so much fun. Same for
Biggest
you is
compliment,
the
right?
relationships you build.
Yeah.
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 It's so true. It's so true. And, having that, having people say, oh, God, you're getting married. God, you have to use her or you have to
Yeah.
use him, 15 years later. It's just, it's such a compliment, but it really,
I've done daughters' weddings of
yeah.
a flower girl was the daughter at a wedding and I did her wedding. Like, oh
Oh,
my gosh.
I know. It
The
always makes me feel like
realization of
really old.
Yeah.
the
Like, oh,
realization of how
I
quick
did
time
my mom's
flies.
wedding in
Yeah.
2003. And I go like, what?
Yeah. Yeah. I was
Cool.
doing this way back then. Yeah, I've had Celia's too. You do the wedding, then you get called to do the baby blessing and then the
Yeah.
siblings blessing, and then it's like, and then everybody, the kids are so much older, and you're
Yeah.
like,
Life moves so
wow.
fast.
I
you
know.
know?
God, I know. It's
Oh,
just funny. But it's a real, you know, I think that people, head into these relationships with their vendors, and all of us in a way, and they don't, they're hoping for the best and they've looked at reviews and maybe they got referred by a vendor or, a venue and they're really hoping for the best. And you can only as a person who doesn't really, I always compare this to like me buying a roof. It's like I don't know how to buy a roof. It's like, you get quotes that are from like $3,000 to $17,000. Obviously, it's not the same roof, and you just like you cross your fingers and you make a good decision. And when that comes out, you can only vet people so much if you're
sure.
not in the industry. Somebody calls me for like, I need a DJ. I can give you four people. And if you tell me somebody else, I'm not going to say anything nasty, but it's like, these are the people I refer and this is why I refer them. And,
Sure.
they go in with a certain, it really is a leap of faith. And when their leap of faith is confirmed by looking at the gorgeous pictures that come out and the way that, you guys are so relaxed on the day, you're never late. We're never like, oh, the photographer needs 20 more minutes before the
Right.
ceremony gets started. It's like, no, sorry. Nope. Bad planning on somebody's part, not mine. I'm starting on time.
Um, being a talented photographer is just such a, like I said before, just such a tiny piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, it
There's a
really
lot of
is.
photographers out there now that are really, really good at a certain kind of photography that may be very popular on social media, like a light and airy, skies over
Yeah.
exposed, everything's very soft, and that may be beautiful, and that may be what you like right now. But then that is the only trick they have in their bag. So when you put them in challenging lighting situations, like a barn at Perona Farms, they don't know what to do because they're a natural
Yeah.
light photographer. So for us, we really try to showcase what we can do in every situation. What happens if it rains? Well, give me an umbrella and a light, and I will make it look like magic.
Yeah.
So you really want to find a photographer who can
You're not
explore.
pigeonholed into one
Oh my
particular
God.
style. You can work with whatever element is happening out there. Yeah.
Sure. We've actually lost not a lot of weddings, but a couple here and there where they will show me a very trendy kind of photography, and
Yeah.
we like
All
our
pastel. Yeah.
our style is always going to be clean, vibrant, bright, true to life, and classic. So our motto is we're timeless, we're classic, yet modern. So a good photograph doesn't age. A good black and white photograph of Marilyn Monroe stays classic and relevant through time. If we just go back and think about things that were trendy just 20 years ago, that was brinds that were totally gray with bright red flowers.
Oh
And this
God. Oh gosh. We all know that.
and that was about the most cringy. And for me, and I know I might get
it's so
flack for
true.
this, the photographers posting blurry photos makes my skin crawl. Where the couples are, there's nothing in focus. It's a motion blur, and everyone's saying, "Oh, I love how this feels." Like this is a misfire to a professional photographer.
Right.
I know.
But
I know.
20 years ago, if I gave you photos like this, I better learn how to like change tires because I'm not going to keep this job.
It's
So,
not a trend. It's a mistake. Let's just get
so
like very
following
clear
those
about that.
trends,
Yeah.
and they seem to go outdated. I mean,
They
there
go
was a time
outdated
where
quick.
you had a silhouette of yourself, and then you're inside of the photo, like from the 70s.
Oh my
I
God.
had a limo driver, bless his heart, stop my whole photo shoot. Old school guy, Italian guy, and of course I love that. I'm always so polite and courteous to everybody. Stop my photo shoot. Says, no, 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 no. Here's what you got to do. And he took all of the bridesmaids' flowers. And he fanned out that bride's dress perfectly.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Flower
Yes.
on the back of the dress in a
Oh.
C shape, and goes, "There you go. You're welcome." Cool, man. We're in the parking lot of the Venetian, but I'll take this photo. I think it's beautiful. It's going to be the cover of their album. And of course, I didn't want to make him feel bad, but I said, like, no problem. I love that photo. Let me do it. And I entertained him. But like that's like, you got to change that way of thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember when some years ago, they would bring like the empty picture frame and people hold that
Yeah.
up and
Oh,
stick their
God.
heads between them.
Right. Or they'd stick it like on the beach and then you'd photograph through. Yeah.
Oh God.
We try not to do any of that stuff.
I
Yeah.
know. I
That's-
know.
It's not the classic.
That's
It's like,
funny.
look at that. It is funny when you think about, one of my friends he does mostly like micro weddings and, very small things at this point. He's like, remember, we used to joke about the shot lists, it's like, look at your flowers like you've never seen them before. It's like, it's like, wow, I'm holding flowers. How did that happen? Oh my gosh. And
Yeah.
like fix his bow tie. It's like, oh man, it's like, yeah, you have to have the post pictures, but and you have to have the portraits and but there are some of these things that are so contrived. It's just my wedding, we don't even want to talk about mine. Mine
Well, I
was
think so.
horrible.
You
Yeah.
can, it's like looking back at the Sears pictures you got like
Right.
Yes. I know. It's like, did I actually wear my hair that way? Oh my God.
But
And I love how things come full circle. There's a trend going on right now where people are going to Sears to
Yeah.
recreate these absolutely cheesy photos,
Oh God.
because of the novelty behind it. So it's just so funny to me that
yeah.
these trends come back around. But my advice to people who are looking into a photographer: do not try to do what everybody is doing on Instagram, because it always has a shelf life. True classic photography, and any professional photographer worth their salt will say exactly what I'm saying. A good professional, clean photo, true to life, will never go out of style.
Timeless.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
A
The other-
clean portrait. Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes those things are posted on Instagram and TikTok just for content. I swear, I'm like, this can't be real. What are they?
Yeah. And I'm not old. I'm about to turn 44. So I feel much older. But I shot my first wedding at 21 years old, and I was a film photographer, and you watch things change and trends change. And I mean, my newest crutch, which I'm doing working very hard to be positive about, is the on-site content creator who has to stand
Oh, I'm so glad you said that.
with their cell phone elbow to elbow with me, and then walking through my shots. And I try to, I really am a super courteous and polite person. I think you know that from working with me. And I just go like, please stop walking into the shot. Or like, I know that like every 5 seconds we have to transition into a TikTok dance, but like, oh my
God.
I know. It is maddening. It is maddening. Yeah.
We talk about this all the time. It's like, if you have a good photographer like you and your crews, there's no reason to have somebody doing that, because you're going to capture everything.
We post a sneak peek the next day.
I just find it insulting. I really do. And, I wish it would go away. I mean, I don't even like, I mean, if I'm going to take a picture of a couple, which I rarely do because my pictures are horrifying, but it's like, could I just take one picture and then I'll be gone? I promise.
Thank God you're a wonderful wedding officiant.
Yeah, but, yes. As a photographer, I'm a
Any
great
photo you
officiant.
want from any wedding, we're happy to send it to you with a bow.
Yes,
But
that's
you know,
that's what I will ask. I will ask the photographer, Anthony, can you, if you send me a couple of pictures and
It's
we
our
tag
pleasure.
each other in it,
We love networking. We
and
love the
that's, yeah,
relationships we build.
yeah.
I
And
love
and
staying out of the way.
you
Just
I
like
love,
dinner
what I
out of the
love
way.
about you guys. I love that you take the moment, you step to the side, and you let them pronounce. You pronounce them
Yeah,
husband and wife,
of
or
course.
do not make this your couple. What a great moment to have, uninterrupted by
Yeah.
Celia's beautiful smile.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Like Celia
usually
photo bombing your picture.
it
Yeah.
looks like a three-way kiss from some angles.
Yeah,
So
I know.
I always appreciate that you're
A
so
three-way
thoughtful of
kiss.
the
Yeah, you
photographer.
just said you're like
I
you
like to
just had to Photoshop us out.
step
Yeah.
aside too if they're reading
Yeah.
vows to each other.
Yeah,
Give them some
I
space.
love
Give
that
that,
that you're thinking about. I of course I'm Catholic and I love my Catholic ceremonies too. I cannot stand when these Catholic priests decide that the couple is going to face everybody, and I love that. But now they're going to stand in front of the couple, in
That's
front
so
of
weird, isn't
everybody,
it?
where they're
yeah.
talking to the couple's facing you, and there's no way to get around Friar Tuck's head. Like it's
Yeah.
really like, oh, I really appreciate what you're doing, but there's no photo except
Yeah.
you're back now. You know.
I, But you bring up a really good point. I think that, when I talk to my people, we're trying to get through like an initial meeting. It's like when we're talking about the ceremony, let's talk about the things that we're going to maybe include in there that are going to make the ceremony more than just Celia or Andrea talking to two people in front of 150 people for 20 minutes. It's like, let's bring your moms up. Let's do a ritual element if it's meaningful to you. Let's think about like, how is this going to look on film? Is it just really going to be now they're all up the aisle and now they're standing here for 20 minutes doing the exact same thing?
I really love that you guys don't make it, the Andrea and Celia show too. So many of these officiants turn this into like the comedy half hour where you
Yeah.
guys really are restrained. You're still a lot of fun, but you make it so much about the couple and their story that you really are invested, less in a joke you've told 700 times that has landed 400 times.
Right. Right. Because, it is about the couple,
It is.
right? It's
Should
a,
be.
it's about them. I
Should be.
wanted to say, Anthony Ziccardi Studios, you guys are preferred vendors at many venues.
For
But
good reason. Yeah.
you also, as we were talking before we started recording this, is you also do destination weddings.
Oh,
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah, tell what's your
Oh, I,
favorite destination
I don't know. I have
location?
so many, but I can tell you some that I really thought were very cool. I loved France last year. I thought that
Uh-huh.
was so cool. They were Michelin star chefs. In Europe,
Oh.
the weddings don't have time limits, so that one went till the sun up, which was fun but yet difficult for me. And that had 11 courses. And France was so inspiring and so beautiful as a photographer. And we think about America's 250 years old. You go to a city like Paris that's
Mm-hmm.
2000 years old. It's very different architecture and I loved seeing all those photos. I did a wedding in Ireland on the cliffs of
Wow.
Moher. Like what a magical place that is. That looks like something like out of a Tolkien book,
Yeah.
where these cliffs just fall off. This time of year, we spend a lot of time in Mexico and the Caribbean. I have this one photo that I really love and I'm super proud of. It's the sunrise in Mexico. And the reason you have to do that is because we are on the Gulf Coast and the sun only rises over water on the East Coast and it sets on the West Coast over water. So we were on the Gulf Coast in Cancun. And this was a photo that she was very excited about, like a trash the dress type of thing. And I remember the night of the wedding, she's like, we're just going to stay up all night. I said, like, okay, well, I'm going to go to sleep and then we'll wake up in the morning and we'll meet you. They're outside my hotel room talking at like 4 o'clock in the morning, still in their hair and makeup, still in their stuff. And I'm there with my wife, Sarah, and I went like, let's just get up, we'll get some coffee and let's just go out and join them because we're not sleeping because they're so nervous about missing this that they're basically on the beach lawn chair outside my room. It was a really beautiful photo shoot, but I just remember breakfast that morning going like, I am out of it. But some of this photography, you're not going to get that opportunity again. You never get the sunrise in Mexico on your wedding day. And if my
Right.
couples want to do it and they have a good attitude about it and they bring that positive vibe, it'll only amplify with me. And I just to segue real quick, that's the last thing I say with my clients when we have any meeting. And I say it Whatever vibe y'all choose to bring to your wedding, be it a positive vibe, me and my team will amplify that exponentially. So if you're excited, I will make it more excited. If you're nervous, I'll make it better. I said, but if you are upset and angry, my team will not do anything to make it worse, but we're not going to try to improve it. What you bring to the table, we will make better. If it's bad, we're just going to stay steady. So whatever you decide, whatever energy you decide to put out into that universe and bring to your wedding, we will, hopefully, if it's good, we will make it so much better. Make sense?
I
Nice.
do
Makes
think,
sense. Yeah.
I do think that, by picking the right professional people to work with you, not only for what they're going to do on that day, but for the process leading up to it, which you talked about a little bit, which is great. It's like if people enter that wedding day thinking that they're being taken care of and everything that they want to have happen is going to happen, it's just, and it's like when we go to venues that we know manage things beautifully, and I look at my worksheet and I have like 4 different vendors that I really love. It's like I know this is going to be fantastic, and those people are going to be so calm, and we say this over and over again, that calmness is going to show on their faces for the whole day. They're not going to be nervous and freaked out and crazy.
Yeah.
And then there's always a flip side to that, Celia. When you get that vendor sheet, you go,
Of
oh my
course.
God, why did they? Oh, okay. So now you're coming to the thing going, I have to step my game up and I almost have to overcompensate for what I know is going to happen.
My damage control.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Oh my
Anthony,
gosh.
tell us about how far we're entering engagement season here. So pretty
Perfect.
soon we're all going to be busy sending quotes, talking to couples,
Mhm.
telling them about our process. How far in advance are you booking now? Do you still have 2025?
Sure.
And
So
what's your post-production process, just to let them know about what happens, the
Timeframe.
photos and
Sure. So the 3 most popular days to get engaged, if you don't already know this, are Christmas Eve day, New Year's Eve, and if by some chance your girlfriend thought she was going to get proposed to on Christmas or New Year's, and you screwed up both of those, and you realize that like either you propose, or you're out, then it's Valentine's Day. So
That's your last chance.
that's your last shot.
Valentine's
That's
Day.
your last shot to do it. And then that's I think a lot of our brides have this like timer in their head, like, well, February 14th, is his last shot. So the 3 most popular times to get engaged happen to be in our off season, in our winter, and in 2 months.
Yeah.
And then it's a whirlwind of excitement and researching and talking to your friends. For us, and I'm very proud of this fact. A lot of our clients, once they get engaged, will actually call us before they book a venue and say, "Can we just get a couple of your open dates? Because we're looking at venues, and we want to make sure that our date coincides with the date that Anthony or Joe or one of your
Yeah.
team members is available." So that's always so nice to me. And it's such a huge compliment that they care enough to have my studio be a part of their day, that they'll ask us for open dates before
Yeah.
they're
Great compliment. Yeah.
so popular dates like the fall and the spring, and like Labor Day weekend and Memorial Day and Columbus Day weekend are all going to be the first ones to book up 100%. So if you have your heart set on the fall, or right when the leaves are changing, that is going to be prime time booking season. We book up every year to capacity, basically, before the year starts. So for 2025, I would say we have maybe 40 really random dates available, and many of our Saturdays and Fridays already completely shut down. Our post-production process is very unique. So different than a lot of studios, we actually edit every single photo that gets taken. So I don't personally edit them. They get edited by my team. And then my job, which I'll do after this wonderful podcast, is I will sit down with my production manager, and it's my job as Anthony Ziccardi to check every single edit. And I actually change about 10% of the edits to stuff that I think like, just this needs a little tweak, or I notice I don't love this person kind of bomb in the background, so we're going to Photoshop them out. So every photo and every video that leaves my studio has actually been viewed by me and kind of has my stamp of approval, so that there's nothing that leaves here that I haven't checked and that I think is perfect. And we have a fairly fast turnaround time, which is roughly about 4 weeks. But in the fall, we kind of fall to that 5 or 6, just because our volume is so very heavy. But every pimple, blemish, thing that you didn't want to have happen on your wedding, as far as maybe your hair or makeup, gets fixed by us in post-production, which is another service that you get when you hire an established professional studio, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I want to tell our listeners that we will have a link to Anthony Ziccardi Studios website, as well as your Instagram on our social media sites, and of course on the podcast hosting sites, so that you can
Thank you so
click
much.
right on it, go to his website. Your gallery is beautiful. Your use of
Yeah.
light is absolutely phenomenal. I'm looking at some photos now, and like this one at Bear Brook Valley, I'm Melissa and Jonathan's. That's just gorgeous. And
Are you
just
talking about
all
our
of them
night
are
shots?
gorgeous. They're beautiful.
Or
And
that's kind of like our, you know, if we were to have a signature thing that we do is, you know, I really love what we produce at night, which is like the failing light, which we call the
Yeah.
twilight. You know, these are, we always try to get our couples out where there's just a little bit of light left in the sky. The sun is already set for about 20 minutes. And then we kind of produce these really dramatic, magic twilight photos, and we're really well known for them. And we schedule them at every wedding, of course, if our couple doesn't want to, but I'd say less than 1% of our couples say like, no, I don't want that epic photo that I saw on your website on my wedding day.
see,
Really something we do.
that's another thing with experience and professionalism. As you're going through the whole reception hour, you're in tune to what the light's happening outside, and you can say to your couple, well, let's go outside a moment because this light is perfect right now, or you know, you anticipate those shots.
You know what my biggest nightmare is?
What?
It's June 20th. Our sunset's at 8:30. It's a later wedding, and I know I'm gonna have a beautiful sunset, like at a sky view. And the best man speech is not the speech; it's the roast of the groom, and it's 45 minutes. And I'm watching that sun disappear behind that mountain, and then I'm watching my twilight disappear with it, and I'm just going, please, please stop, so I can take my couple outside and give him this epic photo while this guy's talking about, you know, when we were in second grade. And those of you who don't know,
my God,
John, you're going like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. You know, and you're allotted time for it. You're like, okay, if the speeches are 10 minutes, like we have 10 minutes to take them outside, and all of a sudden it turns into like the talk show for 45 minutes. And you're like, well, there goes that.
Yeah.
That's the only time I get stressed at a wedding, where the things that I absolutely cannot control, and I cannot interrupt a dad speech or a best man speech. So like, that's wonderful, but the sun's right over that mountain right now, and I really want to get a silhouette of my couple with the orange sky. But yeah, that's my scariest thing that happens at weddings, for me at least.
Understandable. Yeah. All right. I want to say thank you for joining us today. It was really great to have you. I look so forward to working with you and your team a lot in 2025 and beyond.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate your time. And I obviously love to talk shop with all my professionals, especially ones I enjoy so much working with.
It's always fun. Thank you so much. And I hope we see you soon. I'm sure I'll see you soon.
I'm positive we will see each other very soon. Take care, my friends, and have a wonderful holiday.
Yes, you too.
Yeah, you too. All right.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
This podcast is brought to you by New Jersey wedding officiant Andrea Pertel, owner of For This Joyous Occasion Officiating Services.
And Celia Milton, owner of NJ Vows Now, also New Jersey wedding officiating services. We're up in North Jersey, and Andrea is down in Central and South Jersey. So together we cover the whole state, don't we?
Yes, yes.